coming to you live from downtown San Francisco. It's the Junkyard Rat Show.
Hello, I'm Junkyard Rat, and today's special guest, all the way from Springfield, Missouri, is Richard Alvis. How you say your last name, by the way?
Avila's, my man. Avila's.
Aviles, porque sí, yo hablo castellano también. My stepmom's is I think her name is like that. How are you doing? So, you don't come from the city where the Simpsons are from, do you?
I don't think so. I don't think it's the Missouri one. That's actually a good question. I can't remember which one is it. Does anybody
Springfield,
know?
Illinois.
Yeah, no. That makes a lot of sense because they have like a nuclear thing. We're known for meth here, so
We're
yeah.
known for fentanyl over here. You haven't got the fentanyl down there, have you? Or
No. We're classy people. We like our meth. Come on now.
so you teach a class on human trafficking?
Yeah, I actually have a course that I created that April 8th is when I'm doing like a live presentation on Zoom about it. So we've had a couple hundred people go through it already for like the state side of things and interpreters, and now we're opening it up to everybody else.
You went to like a military college.
No, I actually went to military college. That's a good one. What's called AMU, American Military University, which is part of APU, American Public University. In 2015, I graduated. That's actually good that you know that. Most people don't know that.
But were you in the military or
Yeah, I was in the army for 5 years.
so kind of things do you teach for human trafficking? How to keep people from getting trafficked or
That's a good question. So what I teach in the class is basically like identifying marks. I give a couple of examples for interpreters to understand. Like, hey man, like this is what you're gonna run into. These are some of the things that you might have to interpret. And in essence, by doing that, then I can explain and break down like, hey, these are some of the markers. These are some of the things that you're gonna see. Normally, what I tell people is, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it acts like a duck, then my God, it's a duck.
so how do you have like women there and you tell them stay away from certain people or like
No, nothing like that. So one of the things that I normally tell people is, depending on the industry that you work on, you're gonna be more likely to run into someone that's probably a trafficking victim, right? Like if you work in like the
Hold on.
service
Yes.
industry, or you work in a hotel, you're a comedian, you're a barber, you're a bar, you know, a lot of those people are gonna run into the possibility of them, the likelihood of them running into someone that's being trafficked is highly. So those are the type of people that I normally want to like talk to and whatnot too.
we're comedians, so are we supposed to look at the audience to see if somebody's getting trafficked or
That's a great question, and that's actually funny that you said it that way. Nah, man. So here's the thing, right? And this is a great question. So here's the thing. A lot of times as comics, what happens when we're not doing our set? You're doing one of two things. You're either getting ready, you're either getting your set ready, running it in your head, or trying to like get in that zone, or you're out mingling with the people, and you're out trying to get laid, or maybe you're out mingling with your old lady.
drugs?
Well, if
Drugs.
right, you know what I'm saying. So if if you're out in that, I love that. If you're out in the public and stuff like that, there's a few things that you can notice. Like for example, a lot of times I tell people like, hey man, if you see a 15-year-old kid that's with an elderly dude, she's not answering. She's at a club that probably shouldn't be there, and she's way overdressed, and the dude's a little too comfortable. He's like real handsy. These are things like to like watch out for. Obviously every situation is different, and like I always tell people like don't intervene and shit like that. Just call law enforcement and tell them what you see. But like that's one of the things that you can see too, man. So it's just a lot. But that's a great question.
Do you know a lot of human trafficking victims or
Yeah.
how
I
did you get it started doing this kind of stuff?
So what ended up happening was that when I got out of the military, I did some work for some three-letter agencies, and
Is
it
it
opened up my eyes to a lot of things.
does it start with an F or a C or a D or
Maybe, maybe, maybe.
But Missouri's not like a federal agency town, is it? I mean, state.
I'll tell you where it was. It was in Boston.
Oh yeah, I
It was
understand
in
that.
Boston. I'll tell you that much. And when I left that, actually I ended up getting fired from that. And I came back to Missouri and I started like my own business. And when you start your own business, it's really depressing because you don't really make a lot of money for a while. And what ended up happening was that I got some calls from some friends of mine that were adopting these kids, and then I got called I got called into the prosecutor's office, and they were like, "Hey, we heard that you've had a background check and you have security clearances, and you've done some federal work and you've done some stuff in the military." I was like, "Yeah." And pretty much they kind of like just read you in, which what that means is they explain to you the situation. And then I became the interpreter for like a couple hundreds of people that needed interpreters that were trafficked, either trafficked, domestic violence survivors, among other like really nasty things.
Oh, you mean like in Spanish, right? You.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, there's got to be a lot of that happening out here,
Oh
especially
yeah.
in San Francisco. I think we're filled. We're like a. We're filled. This is like a big trafficking town, probably.
I don't know the numbers on San Francisco. I know that a lot of it comes from Texas, and a lot of it comes from places like New Mexico too. Uh, but I know San Francisco has a huge problem with like drugs coming through and whatnot.
Yeah, like a block away from here. Actually, we got Twitter headquarters nearby, but a block away, it looks like a summer camp for drug addicts. There's got to be at least 200 of them just out there just kicking it. Like, I don't know what do they do during the day, but there's so many of them. It's like
Wow.
it's incredible. It's like it's something to see. It's almost like I want to take pictures of it, but I don't. I'm like, what's going on here and stuff. So why did you get fired? Are you allowed to say, or
Uh,
was
do
it
you remember
political,
the time when
or
the
wa-
government
was it
ran out of
political? Was
the
it
what?
was it political reasons you got
No,
fired? Or
no, man, no, nothing like that, dude. I'll tell you this. This is as much as I can say.
you translated the wrong thing.
I knew too much. I knew too much, man. I just knew too much, and they had to get rid of me. Nah, man. A lot of it came down to just differences of personalities and stuff like that.
So
And sometimes it's best for you to just move on. You know, that's just one of those things that happens.
so you teach jujitsu too, don't you?
No, 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 no. I don't teach jujitsu, man. I'm not good enough to teach jujitsu,
Oh,
bro.
you're like so you do jujitsu.
Oh yeah, I
I
do
thought it
jujitsu.
was part of your human trafficking. You're gonna beat somebody up, like you're gonna go like, oh, I see you taking that woman. I'm gonna beat you up or something.
Man, that's why I say you got to be careful because people are just itching to sue somebody, man. That's why you got to be careful.
That
Unfortunately,
is true. I see it all the time. People tell me that they get in a car crash, they shoot somebody, then they get thrown out of Section 8 because they got too much money. That's another story. But yeah, so does your jujitsu come in to your training at all? Do you recommend people learn jujitsu or some for safety reasons or
that's a good question.
like kids? Do you
How do I
recommend the
say?
kids learn it or
How do I
because
say this? You have to like really know like why you're doing what you're doing, right? So like for me personally, I do jujitsu because it helps my mental health. Like that's honestly the number one reason why I do jujitsu. Uh, does it come in handy? Yeah, it definitely has come in handy in the past with certain situations that have happened and stuff like that. But what I always tell people is check out, just go do something, man. Just go fucking do something. Go do yoga, go do hot yoga. Go if you want to learn how to fight, then go do boxing, go do Muay Thai. Go do something that'll get you like out of the house and like moving And then if you really want to learn how to kill somebody, go do jiu-jitsu or box or Muay Thai.
Well, you know, I'm
There's
in
a
a
couple.
bare knuckle comedians league, so at midnight we
Nice.
all get together and we do bare knuckle fighting or something. Not really.
I mean,
We could do like a slap comedian league
the
instead of
slap, yeah, I'm
instead of
okay with the slap.
instead
If
of
you
doing a
bare
roast
knuckle,
battle,
it's
we
a
just
mistake.
slap the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It'll probably be funner and stuff. So what the hell? What's the whole cup thing? I was looking at your
Hmm.
what is it called? The
1 million cups.
yeah, what is that?
Yeah, no. So 1 million cups is it's an organization. It's like a networking event, pretty much, but it's not really a networking event. Like a lot of people go to networking events and somebody's like trying to shove down your throat, like buy my shit.
Yeah.
That's not how it is here. I've been going to it for about four plus years now, and it's just a lot of people who have businesses or like I hate to sound cliche, that they're pretty well known in the community. Not the mafia; those guys have another club. That's another spot that we can talk about later.
But what is
Uh,
it with the
uh,
cups? What's going on with the cup? Is it, at first, I thought you were doing like cup battles. You know, like you know how those people have
so,
like 10 cups and they move 'em
nah,
around.
dude. So this is what it is, right? So it's basically like their slogan is keeping entrepreneurs caffeinated, and they had
Oh,
asked me, yeah, they had asked me to do like a small comedy set at an event, and he's like, hey, no cussing and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, it's a gig. There's a couple hundred people in there, I'm just gonna go up for a little bit, lighten the mood. And he goes, hey, no, nothing nasty. I go, yeah. And the first thing I said is like the first time I heard about 1 million cups, I was like, wow, these people really don't know what cocaine is. And immediately, like the president looks at me and he laughs, and I just said, I was like, man, if you laugh, I win. If you laugh,
yeah.
I win. So no, that's just what it is, man. It's just people going in there. People present their business. They present it for like 30 minutes, and then people answer questions or people like give you like advice. Like a lot of times when you go there, like you'll see that somebody has a similar problem that you do, and you'll figure out like, oh snap, that's how they figured that out. And a lot of times you just go in there and you just like talk to people and go hang out. Like that's just one of the other things you can do. But there's a lot of resources that come with it, man. Like a lot of resources. Yeah, it's amazing. It's been really good to me.
So, what kind of jokes do you do? Do you have
Say
any?
again.
Tell me some of your jokes.
Oh God, have you not seen my life, good sir? Like that's just all about it. Jesus, just life is a joke in general, good sir. When you really think about it,
You went
right?
on a
Like
date and you figured out she was a human trafficking victim.
the what?
You went on a date and then you figured out she was a human trafficking victim instead.
God no.
And you,
If that ever happened to me, I don't know what I would do. That would be an interesting situation. Could you imagine if you went on a date? Hmm. Actually, how would I play that out? How would you play that out?
I don't know. I'd try and figure out where the next payphone is so I can call the cops, right? I don't know. What am
That's
I
one
supposed
way.
to do? That's a good thing. What if you find the human trafficking victim? What are you supposed to
But
do? Like call the police or?
so it depends, right? Here's the scenario, right? Let's say someone runs up to you and says, "Hey, I need help. I'm being trafficked," and they're like looking at you in the face, like, "Hey, help me!" Like someone's trying to take me. The number one thing I always tell people is like, man, get to a crowded spot and like let them make as much noise as they want. Because a lot of times when things get rowdy, people hear that and then shit can escalate. The other thing I tell people is like just call the authorities immediately and like give a really good description of the person. Because that's the main thing, man. Like you'd be surprised how many times people call and they're so emotional that they don't realize they don't remember the person's face, they don't remember what they were wearing, they don't remember their hair color, they don't remember what color the shirt was or anything. Like little things like that make a big difference. And the other thing is like, man, just stay away from wherever that person, like a lot of times you'll notice that like we had a case where the girl was iffy of like certain places, like she didn't like certain places, and she would get like real tensed up and whatnot. So you'll notice it in their body language. But that's the first thing you should do, man, is like, all right, cool, let's get you to safety. Call the cops and like, dude, if you're at the mall, for example, which is a great example, just go up to anyone in the register and just tell them to call security. So traffickers want to be quiet, man. They don't want to make noise. They don't want to make waves.
Well, I
Like,
was at the Vegas airport and I saw the woman. I thought she looked like she was being trafficked, but actually she was on a hot slot machine at the airport. And I decided I wanted the slot machine. So yeah, I called the authorities. I said she's being trafficked.
Jesus Christ.
No, but you see stickers like that. But I mean, like there's a lot of hotels out here. I figure there's probably people working in these hotels that might have been trafficked. I mean, I figure San Francisco is like a big port city, so we get a lot of Asians from you were born in Puerto Rico or
Yeah, born and raised.
so do you go back to Puerto Rico or
Nah, man, it's been a while. It's been like a while. It's been like 5+ years, probably a little more.
since the hurricane or
Probably way before the hurricane. Like way before the hurricane. Because I left the island in 2008 when I joined the military.
do you think that Puerto Rico should be its own state?
That's an interesting question. Here's how I'll answer that, because I get asked that question a lot. Why should they become a state would be my first question, because then that's there's two ways here, right? So it depends on what benefit they would gain from it, which that's a long list. And the other thing would be is what benefits do we lose from that? Because you got to understand, Puerto Ricans have dual citizenship.
Yeah.
You're born Puerto Rican and American. You have dual citizenship. Most people don't know that when you're born there. So my whole thing
do you travel with a Puerto Rican passport or an American one?
No, I got my American one.
Oh no, but
Yeah.
can you get a Puerto Rican one too if you want or
If you live there, you have to reside within the island for X amount of time in order to be able to apply for that. I've been in Missouri longer than I have probably anywhere else.
do you know why they should become a state? We don't have a Spanish speaking state, you know? I think it would be good. Wouldn't it be good? Like, I mean, we talk about diversity, but we don't have a state that speaks Spanish. We need one, right? Isn't that what diversity is? It's like we just pick and we need this.
But wait, what about Orlando? Why don't we just cut Orlando in half and take Miami, make it another state?
Well, I think we control Cuba. People don't realize it. I had a cousin that went to Cuba for a month, and he was surprised how much American military is actually in the island.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
and I think we do control Cuba, and I think the main reason we keep Cuba the way it is because we need the Florida tourism money. Before people used to go to Cuba, they didn't go to Florida as much as Cuba, you know. But what if Puerto Rico decided they want to be their own country? Would you be down with that or?
I mean, I don't know how that would play out. I do know this. I would stay in the States. I would absolutely stay in the States. And then whatever they decided to do, we'd see. I mean, I definitely go visit, but I like where I am. I like where I am a lot.
Do you have a lot of family in Puerto Rico still?
Oh
or-
my, yeah. My entire mom's side of the family is over there, and then on my dad's, they're like all over. Nowhere near me though. Like they're all over.
So for the World Baseball Classic, were you for Puerto Rico or?
Bro, so I'm the white
I gotta
kind of Puerto
explain
Rican.
that I was born in yo soy chileno. I was born in Chile, and I became an American citizen on my own, not through
Nice.
my parents. So, but yeah, it's like there's always that conflict. Sporting events, who do you root for?
You might be surprised about this. I'm like the white kind of Puerto Rican, like the white kind of Hispanic. So like I don't follow sports. The only thing I watch is jujitsu.
Oh, you don't even watch UFC or
No, I'm not.
no bare knuckle
like-
fighting,
no.
bare knuckle fighting.
I watch honestly what I watch, and it's funny because if I showed you my if I turned my camera around, you looked at my screen where it's frozen. It's a thing called flow grappling. That's what I watch pretty much all day. I just watch matches and analyze matches, and then I go to the gym and train.
What's up with
like
that video of the pregnant woman? You had a video of a pregnant woman doing.
Oh, Kaylin. Yeah, Kaylin.
Was she? Is she really pregnant, or was that a
Yeah,
joke?
she's I think 30 weeks or something like that. She said
30
30. Yeah.
weeks,
Hmm?
and she's allowed to be on the floor.
Yeah.
Do they
Dude,
have
she'll
like
try.
a special pregnant category for tournaments, or?
God no, that would be funny. I would if that ever happened. I want to claim dibs on calling it the Gundam category. And a lot of you might not get that joke because it's an old anime reference.
Isn't
I
it
just
like the
feel
Korean thing, or?
no, Gundam is it's an old anime about mechas, about dudes that are fighting in a war. Go figure. But they have mobile suits, like robots that fight. They're inside of them. They fight with robots and stuff.
Were you in the army, or what? What
Yeah.
military? You were in the army. What did you do
Yep.
in the army?
I was an MP, unfortunately.
Oh, you were police.
Unfortunately.
So what do you think about the whole January 6th thing? You were police. Do you think they handled it right, or?
I have not paid attention to any of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Did you
No.
have, as a police, did you have to arrest a lot of people, or were they just,
Unfortunately, yeah.
were they
Unfortunately,
drunk,
yeah.
or what kind of things were your, did they go crazy, and
Man, so many things that come to mind.
was it
A
drugs?
lot of it. The what?
Was there a lot of drug use, or?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, man, and I've said this before on interviews. A lot of drug use, lot of substance abuse problems. Especially when we were coming back, man, there was a lot of guys that were popping hot for you name it, dude. And unfortunately, you're fighting with people that they're in shape, so you have to stay at one level above because you don't want to get knocked out. So you get to a lot of fights, a lot of bar fights, a lot of drug calls, a lot of domestic stuff that happened.
Did you choose
But-
to be MP, or? Did,
Oh yeah.
Oh really? You went in there. Did you want to be a police officer, or do you? You kind of are a police officer, aren't you? Or?
No, bro.
But you were at one point, like, you were like
No.
federal police,
No, man. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing
Homeland
with law
Security.
enforcement. No. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with law enforcement is that unfortunately, you can't help everybody. And when you work in a job where all you have is fucking negativity all the time, and you can't, God forbid, you can't say you have a mental health problem because immediately you get pulled and you get ostracized and you get treated differently. And I've seen it. I've seen it happen. And then you're in a job where you're not really trained as much as you should or as well as you should, which we can talk about that for hours.
Were you stationed overseas, or were you like in Iraq?
I was in Iraq for 15 months, and then I was in Korea for about a year and a half.
So, when you're in Iraq, I mean, that must have been a terrible situation because people are depressed. They're probably doing more drugs out there. I mean,
Not really, man. Not in my experience. In my experience, we didn't really have a lot of time to fuck around because we were just running missions constantly. Then with the SOFA kicked in, the last like 3-4 months of our deployment, we were just doing protective services and just training. You do a lot of training. You're always doing fucking training every day. Like there was no downtime when I was in. You were just always learning something, like doing something. But for the first 10 months, man, we were just running missions, like left and right.
did the soldiers not like you because you were police? I mean,
Oh no. See, in Iraq, you mean back in the States?
well, like when you're a MP, how do the soldiers feel about the MP?
Oh, nobody fucking likes you. You're the popo, bro.
I know.
You're the popo. Who the fuck likes the like? Nobody's gonna like you.
Defund
Obviously,
the,
no.
defund the military police.
God no. God no. Not defund. God no. Because Lord knows that it's dude. It's more training, man. So it's a lot of training that you get in the military. A lot of training. Nowadays, I don't know how things are, but in
You
the
weren't in
military,
any
you're
prisons,
constant-
were you? Or were you guarding any prisons, or?
No, that wasn't what I did. I was in Leonard Wood and then in Iraq and then Leonard Wood in Korea. That was it. We did some detainee operations where we had to like hold people, obviously, because you go to talk to a bad guy in the middle of the night, and obviously you have to hold him and you have to treat him respectfully, and you have to like take their information and stuff like that, and explain to them why things are happening. But never really had to pull like detainee operation stuff like that. Thank God.
So if you found somebody smoking weed, would you arrest them or?
Nowadays,
Yeah, like when you were MP, did did you arrest people for weed or did you look the other way or what
dude,
kind of?
listen. Let me tell you something. There was only one time that I had to deal with someone who had what I thought was probably cannabis or marijuana. Right? I didn't have a tester with me, so I can't 100% sure say that I did. But here's the thing: they were speeding, and it was 30 minutes before my shift was over. And I fucking looked at them in the face, and I was like, throw that out there. Here's a ticket for going 15. Get the fuck out of your merry way. Pay the ticket. And guess what? They didn't say a fucking thing because the lesson was learned. You got an out. Back in the day, if you would have asked me, I probably would have said, yeah, arrest everybody and blah, 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 because we're in a military installation. Nowadays, I'm like, there's a reason I'm out.
But you couldn't find good weed in Iraq. I mean that the Middle East is not really known for marijuana, is it? Or
No, it is known for hash, black tar heroin, a lot of hash, a lot of opium, and a lot of bombs and a lot of bullets. That's pretty much it.
did you have to arrest somebody for stealing a camel?
No.
No, no camel. No,
That's
not
a
you're
good
drunk.
question.
You're out there
No,
riding.
that's a great question. That's a great fucking question.
Have you ridden a camel? Have you been on
Yeah.
a camel?
Yeah, in Kuwait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in Kuwait, I rode a camel. Yeah, that was it was terrifying for me.
Oh
It was
really?
like awkward. Yeah, it was like awkward. I wasn't as coordinated back then. So
Now you're in the Middle East. I mean,
Mhm.
did the people assume like you were Middle Eastern or did they the
a lot of
local?
people did. A
Yeah.
lot of people. Yeah, because of my middle name too is the thing.
Oh, what is your middle name?
Abdel.
Oh, okay. So did people break out in their native languages a lot to you or?
Yeah. I'd be standing there pulling security with like my hands on my gun like this, and you'd be like, "Habibi, shishkola hundaila habibi," and I'm like, and then that would be it. Like they immediately knew, like, oh, that is not my friend. Like
Yeah,
that is.
the Middle
He's a
East.
different shade of brown.
Yeah, the Middle East and Latin America, they look exactly alike almost. It's almost like we could have been like one continent at one point, you know? It's like
Ooh.
you could take people from different areas, you know, they look alike and stuff. In fact, in Chile where I'm from is
Mhm.
like the biggest Palestinian population outside of the Middle East. It's sitting in
Oh,
Chile
really?
right now, yeah. So, and they have a big soccer club called Palestino. But yeah,
Nice.
I always think it's like it's funny like how even here people in the Middle East they look at me and they assume that
Oh yeah.
you know
You must be fun to go through with TSA, huh?
uh TSA it's weird because I always carry weed on me. So TSA is like I always travel with weed, you know. I'm not as bad. I have friends that actually like carry a pound of weed on them when they
Jeez.
travel just to sell it to pay for their
That's.
vacation.
Uh,
You don't travel with weed, of course. You're not even a pothead. I don't think.
who me?
Yeah.
Not really, man. I am a big I'm a big proponent for edibles just because of my hands and stuff like that. Um,
Because your
but
hands
weed.
like to grab the edibles, or your hands
No,
are
I got
like, give me some edibles, damn it. Or you
I have
got,
rheumatoid arthritis is what I have.
oh
So your
yeah.
fingers bend in like a weird way, and it's pretty fucking painful, like very painful.
Was that an
Um,
injury, or is that something that happened to you, or?
Man, it progresses. It started out for me as like tendonitis, and I didn't address it. I didn't address it. Kept like doing the things that I needed to. Kept like going, didn't address it, and then next thing you know, man, like you get to your mid-30s and your hand doesn't open as well, and then you're like, what the fuck? So, yeah,
What
take
about
care of
you?
your health, man.
You got two. Is it because of your jiu-jitsu? Or you keep hitting people too much?
No, a lot of it, man. A lot of it started in the military because, like, I would get anxious and I would like stiffen up. So, like, when you stiffen up a lot, like, you see how your knuckles go white like that? That's not good. So, I did that over time. And, like, one day, like, I think it was like 2.5, like a year and a half into the military, my hand started like shaking, like, it would shake. And I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? And sure as fuck, it was like, oh, it's tendonitis. They're like, you got to take care of it. And they never did. And
That's crazy because how you gonna hold a gun if your hand is shaking? Like,
you can. You can. The thing is, you never know when it's gonna shake.
that's
So
true. You could just tase somebody instead. Like,
taste. I think OC spray is more effective.
oh yeah.
You ever been sprayed?
Oh no, I haven't been sprayed yet. No, I have a friend that she has a taser, and she actually sat on her taser, and she
Yeah.
like jumped up and landed right back on her taser, and but yeah, every time I get in her car, she pulls out her taser like, "Wah!"
Uh,
and it looks like a flashlight. It's scary. But
yeah.
what's the worst thing you had
I'd
to?
rather get
Huh?
tased.
Did you
I'd
have to
rather get
like
tased than
really?
OC.
Did you have to like really do something to? I mean, were you a really police officer? Did you pull a gun on people or?
Unfortunately, yeah, a few times I had to pull my gun, but never had to shoot somebody. Thank God. Had to arrest a couple guys that were fighting each other, and we had to OC spray a couple people in a bar. Pulled out a taser a few times, like maybe once or twice.
The pepper spray or does
Pepper
that?
spray a lot more because the taser when I was in, not everybody got a taser. We didn't have the budget for a taser, so you always had OC spray and you had your baton. So I definitely pepper sprayed like a couple people. I remember vividly because one time I got cross contaminated and that was just a bitch.
Do you feel bad
Um,
about from the American cops? Do you feel when you see like police incidents? Do you feel bad about that they?
it depends, man. No, that's a really good question. It really depends, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. When we run into situations like this, the number one thing that I always say is, unfortunately, they don't have enough training. That's the number one thing that I say. Number two, a lot of people when you work law enforcement, you have to put your ego aside. Like you really have to put your ego aside, because the problem is you have to unfortunately have a higher moral code and a higher ethical code than most people, because if not, people can't trust you. And that's one of the biggest things that we have is a lack of trust. Because, like, dude, I used to be law enforcement and I'm suspicious of my own people, you know? And that's saying something. So, a lot of times, man, it depends on the situation. There's a lot of situations that I see nowadays that I'm like, that should not have ended like that. You should have been able to control the person a little better or try to be able to diffuse the situation a lot better. But unfortunately, I don't know how we're going to see change.
Well, like that one incident. Remember when the Springfield police beat up Homer Simpson for being drunk? Remember?
Yeah, man. See that? I'm glad you brought that up. I have been, you know what? I have been dying to talk about this, and I want to take the opportunity to say that the I was going somewhere, and then I was like, I don't want to go down that route.
How far are you from St. Are you near St. Louis or Kansas City?
Ooh, 3 hours each way.
Are you a Chiefs fan? You're not a Chiefs fan, are you?
I am not, unfortunately. Like I said, I'm not a big sports guy. My wife is. My wife is a Chiefs fan.
Your wife's a Chiefs fan? Is that any reason to get a divorce or?
I get pegged a lot. It's brutal, man. The Super Bowl here was brutal. It was brutal. I needed a little butt cone to sit for a little while to record episodes.
That was a
So
great Super Bowl. I loved it because I was still upset that the Eagles broke our quarterback, the 49ers' arm. So I was excited when the Eagles ended up losing. I'm like, people are assholes. I'm glad you lost. I'm like, they just like grabbed the guy's arm and just broke it. Like I've never seen somebody just jump on a quarterback's arm and just break it.
that was a dick move in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like that was a real dick move. Like that was something that like that sounded very something like, yo, just go do this. Like, it'll be
Yeah.
all right. It'll be all right. We'll pay for the fine. Don't worry about it. Like
They,
Ugh.
there was no fine. It wasn't even illegal. That was a sad thing. It's not even illegal to do that kind of stuff, you know?
Ugh. Ugh. He should have tapped early, I guess. I don't know.
Do you think there's a lot of human trafficking going on at a Chiefs game, or?
There's a lot of human trafficking going on all sporting events. There was a recent case like less than 6 months ago during San Antonio, I think it was. I want to say San Antonio or Dallas. I can't recall right now. But if you pull up the article, there was a girl that they took her from a basketball game, and they found her like a few days later in a hotel. They were
Yeah, I think that was San Antonio. Yeah.
I think it was San Antonio. Yeah. So that
you
goes to
could
show you how prevalent it is.
you could just get kidnapped. Like you're just kicking it one day, somebody just kidnaps you.
Yeah.
Do
Could
they?
happen, man.
Is it men too? Do men get human trafficked, or is it mostly women?
You know, man, that's a really good question. It's anybody. It's anybody. And the thing is you won't know why. It could be for organ harvesting. It could be for child trafficking. It could be for soldiers of war. It could be for sex trafficking. It could be for drug trafficking. It could be for a million things that you get caught. Doesn't matter how, man. It's hard to pinpoint. Most of my cases, however, were kids and were female.
Was it for organs or was
No,
it for
I've
sex traffic?
never worked on a black market or a organ trafficking case, and that's one of the things that I know a couple interpreters who have, and I've heard stories, and they're just brutal, man. They're brutal. I've worked child trafficking, and I've worked the domestic violence side of things, but that's pretty much it right there. And sex trafficking cases, I've worked a couple of those too as the interpreter.
Yeah, I think somebody might want to kidnap me and take my organs, you know, because I'm so healthy. I watch out for that. Like, I know people actually sell their organs, right? People, you got like two lungs. Some people sell one of their lungs, you know?
I've heard rumors about this, and if you go to like the DOJ databases and you go to like pull up statistics from the different agencies, there's numbers out there of like people getting like giving up organs and stuff like that. But the thing is, man, is like that's like playing Russian roulette, bro. That's like playing Russian roulette. You might not wake up. You might be like, yeah, just a kidney. Hey, take his heart too. He's not gonna need that. Like that's Russian roulette, my man.
So what kind of people take your human trafficking class?
Normally it's interpreters. But for the April 8th one, I open it up for everybody, and it's one of those things that hopefully people will take it and they'll learn a lot from it, and hopefully they'll like look around more, man.
How much is it?
It's $89.
Do you think somebody would take your class because they want to learn how to human traffic people?
That's a good question, actually. Someone actually asked me that in a class. Probably, but the thing is what you're learning. Here's the thing: anyone intelligent enough can take information and backtrack it, and then go, "Oh, I just have to avoid these pitfalls," right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: almost everything is open source.
Yeah.
Almost everything. I could find out right now how to make bombs and stuff like that.
That's true. It's not that hard, no.
It's not. So that's why that's one thing I'm not really concerned about.
Do you like judge them? Do you look at them during the class and judge them like?
Nah, man. I got moderators, bro.
But
you fit 200 people in a room and it gets crazy.
But you're like as a former police, do you ever like sit in public and accidentally start judging people, like looking at them?
Man.
Like, oh, I see you. No?
Nah, because here's the thing is when I look, I used to look at like the negative, and now what I do is I look at like, oh, that person's having a good time. Oh, that person's not having such a good time. But judging people, man, if you're over the age of 18, do whatever makes you happy. I don't give a fuck. Go do your thing. Don't hurt people. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a shitty human being. Like. That's the biggest thing that I try to like stick by, and it's hard because I'm fucking human, but that's pretty much what I try to stick by. It's just I don't really judge people much, man. I don't have time to be judging people, man. Look at me, bro. You know, like shit.
Do you go to
My,
jujitsu class high, or do you like?
the what?
Do you eat edibles before you go to your jujitsu class, or do you
No,
recommend
because
that?
here's
Or-
the thing. Here's the thing: is I have to drive, number one, and number two, when you're doing jujitsu, a lot of guys say that they like to do that. For me, it's just not my thing because when I'm at jujitsu, like and that's a great question. I don't need. I like weed for the pain and for the sleep benefit, and that's why I take like a small amount. For jujitsu, I don't really need that because like the noise just like slows down the moment I'm on the mat. Like everybody has, and you can probably relate to this. Everybody has something that when they start, the noise of the world just like shuts down. It could be podcasting, it could be hanging out with your homies, it could be hanging out with your wife, it could be going to the comedy store, you know. So for me, I don't really need that when I do jujitsu. But that's a great fucking question, actually.
do they have belts, or do they give
Yeah,
out belts?
yeah. White, blue, purple, brown, black.
What belt are you? What?
Just purple.
What's the highest belt?
Coral.
Coral.
Which is like you got to be like 50 years in this thing.
50 years they give you the coral. Do you
Yeah,
do
you have to,
tournaments,
like,
or
the what?
do you do like tournaments? Do you fight in
Not
tournaments?
anymore, man. Not anymore. I just go support the team.
But you used to fight. Were you good?
Yeah,
Or
I used to compete. I used to compete a lot.
did you like win a lot of medals, or
Probably.
did you enjoy fighting people, or?
I do. I do. It's relaxing. It's pretty relaxing. As psychotic as that sounds, it's pretty relaxing, man.
So how do you recommend that for the human trafficking too, or?
That's a good question. What I tell people is find something that's gonna help your mental health. That might be going for a walk. That might be sitting down and listening to like music and nothing else. That might be going to lift weights. That might be sitting down and doing a podcast. It might be a million fucking things that's gonna help your mental health. For
It's
me, that's why I do jujitsu. And when people ask me that, I normally say, look in your area. If you want to get into combat sports, either boxing, Muay Thai, jujitsu, judo. And there's like two more that I left out, but those are the main one that I run into.
you forgot
For me,
about
it's
the
jujitsu.
bare knuckle fighting. You forgot about. I watched this show on. I think it's on the. I don't know what channel, but yeah, they did a whole thing about underground bare knuckle fighting and stuff. That there's actually fight clubs that still go on. You know, people get bored and they claim that bare knuckle fighting is better for you than boxing. You know,
I wouldn't know. So that's a good question actually. I would like to know that
because
because the padding, right? The
yeah,
explanation of the padding.
yeah, because you don't put on gloves for jujitsu, do you? You do have some kind of gloves, do you? Or
No,
not
no,
at all.
no. Even if we practice striking, you don't need that. Like, you don't need none of that. Yeah, you just put on the gear. Just put on a rash guard and some spats, or not spats. I'm sorry, some pants, some shorts. You just go train.
Do you ever look at somebody with a higher belt than you and like, nah, I can beat that person. Why they got a higher belt than I do?
You know, man, I've never, and I can say this, full heartedly. I've never really done that because to me, jujitsu isn't really about that stuff. Even though, yeah, it's important, and obviously, I would like to reach a certain rank. That's obvious. But what I've always come to jujitsu is just this helps me calm down. This helps me, with XYZ things. So I never really looked at it as, oh, that person has, fuck this guy, or fuck Donatello, or fuck Leonardo, or fuck Michael.
What's the name of what's the name of those?
No, I didn't say. Oh, those are just names of people, good sir.
Oh, I thought,
Uh,
isn't that like the characters from that one movie? What is it called? The turtle,
I
the
don't
Ninja
know.
Turtles.
I don't know.
Leonardo and Donatello, aren't they Ninja Turtles? Or
Any
are
similarities?
you
Any
are you
similarities to that?
fighting Ninja Turtles, or is that
No,
are you like
nah, man,
do you got Ninja Turtles in your class or?
bro. Probably. You never know, man. Lizard people and shit.
Hey, so is Boston racist or what?
How the fuck is boxing
No,
racist?
Boston,
Boston.
not
No,
boxing.
no.
I heard Boston is racist. I heard a lot of people tell me that they think Boston's like a racist town still.
How? But
You're Latino. What do you think about Boston?
Boston. First of all, I did not like living in Boston because it was expensive. Uh, it was just that was the number one thing. What I did like about Boston was the food was fucking phenomenal. Like phenomenal food. Phenomenal fucking food. And I like all like the historical stuff that they had. Like it was awesome to be able to see like all those places, all those trails and all the ships and shit like that, the naval ships that they have. But besides that, man, like I didn't go out, bro. Like I went to work and I went to see sights and then I went back. But it's expensive. It's expensive as shit to live there.
Well, of course it's expensive. I mean, any city's expensive, isn't it? Like San Fran-
Mm,
San Francisco's really expensive, but Boston is almost like a San Francisco type of town. You know, it's got a bunch of colleges. I had a cousin that went to Boston University. She
mm.
got she got a PhD from Boston University. I don't know why Boston University. I think Howard Stern went to Boston University, but yeah, a lot of pro athletes keep talking about how they think Boston is like racist. I'm like, I've
That's
never,
interesting. I never heard that.
I've never been to Boston, so I've been in New York. What about did you go to the Salem? You went to Salem to look at the witches?
No, dude, that's the one thing that I wish I would have done. Why did you bring that up? No.
Because I know everything about the Salem witch trials. I'm
Dude,
all
that's
about witches. I'm a
really.
comedian. We gotta know the witches. You're a comedian, right? You run into witches all the time. At the comedy shows, right?
Not to my knowledge, man. I don't think I go out and I'm asking people what they do that much. I kind of go, do my thing, watch a couple people, and then I head home, cry myself to sleep because I bombed, and then I do it all over again.
Yeah, Boston's a big comedy town. Did you do any of the clubs while you were living
No,
down there?
dude, because I wasn't doing comedy at that time, and I wasn't like, I
Oh,
wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. I was doing jujitsu though. I did a lot of jujitsu, but I was not. I was not into comedy at that time, dude. Like I was into like comedy shows and stuff like that, but I was not into like stand up and stuff like that hard.
was your family happy you got fired from the government? They're like, ah, el gobierno es un estúpido. Huh? Did your
They
Puerto
don't
Rican
give a.
family go, thank God you don't work for the government anymore?
They don't give a fuck,
They
bro.
don't care.
They
Were
don't
you
care.
allowed to tell your family what you did, or was it a secret? Like,
No, unfortunately, I couldn't, man. I
oh,
couldn't.
you were that deep. You were like deep. Like, we're actually
Eh,
next to the federal building here. In fact, that's where all the drug addicts are. They're right where the federal building is. It's really strange that
they're just trying to get a home, bro. That's all it is.
I hope so. They're trying to go somewhere. I don't know because they have these areas, they have these buildings where they give out like syringes or any or drugs or anything to do drugs. So that's why they're in the area because that's where they get their kits. You know,
Hmm.
they get their syringes, but yeah, it's amazing. Like, and you never see any police down there. Like we all know where the drugs are. Like they're right here in front of us. And it's crazy because I got a woman booked next week for the show, and she's coming in, and I don't know what to tell her. Like how to avoid all this.
Ooh,
You
that's
know,
gonna be a fun one.
yeah. Like as a man, like I understand, I see a bunch of drug addicts and it kind of doesn't scare me. Like, they ask me if I want anything, but as a woman, that's got to be like terrifying. Your ex-boyfriend might be one of them or something.
Yeah, might find a family member in there.
Yeah, that's true. I got like 30 cousins in Chile, so if I find one down here, I'll be like, that's a long way to go. But you know, the drugs are better here, aren't they? Like fentanyl is everywhere. I never really thought like, that. But it's yeah. I mean, we need your services down here. You can get in the Homeland Security truck, go bust somebody. I don't think the Homeland Security deals with drug addicts. I'm not sure. I'm not sure anybody does, to tell you the truth. We got
Yeah.
a drug problem. I'm not sure they do anything about it. And I think Boston probably was the same way. I mean, was there a
There's a
big?
lot. There's a lot of drugs that get moved that people don't catch, man.
Yeah,
Like, there's a lot of drugs that for every think about it this way, for every like, let's say 5 tons that you find of X drug, there's probably 30 that just came through.
yeah.
Like it's wild, dude. That the amount of money that's in it. It's wild.
The only thing
Wild.
you're not allowed to buy out here is menthol cigarettes. They made menthol cigarettes illegal in the state of California, and they're doing it for weed too. Like, I heard next year they're deciding that you can't buy any vapes that are like not naturally flavored, or weed if you got like, or tobacco. They're gonna regulate all that stuff. Like, it's crazy how they get involved. No wonder you quit the gov. No wonder you got fired from the government. You gotta tell me what you did. Like, at least give me some kind of hint. Like, what kind of? Give me a
I
little
work.
hint.
I work with drugs. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, okay. That's what we're talking about. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
weed though. We're talking about real drugs, right?
No, 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 no. Weed is like I think it was Dane Cook who said it. It's a Dave Chappelle. It's a confusing herb.
Yeah.
It's a confused spice. Like yeah, that's just that's just weed is like confused spice.
Do you make
When you
your
talk about
edibles,
probes
or
and stuff.
do you make
The
your
what?
own edibles?
No, man. I have a sponsor called Bloom Medicinals that they've been good to us with when it comes to edibles, and they have great products and stuff. That's where we get everything. Because you have to be careful, man. Like I don't know how to do none of that stuff. I didn't touch cannabis until like my 30s.
Is Missouri like a? Are they legal, or is it medical
Yeah,
marijuana?
yeah,
It's legal.
recreational and medical.
Do they have dispensaries?
Yeah, a shit ton. Well, not a shit ton really. There's like, I don't know. I go to like our sponsors, like I said. I go to Bloom only, but there's dispensaries everywhere.
Oh yeah, because I have a friend who's a vet, and he gets hooked up. The vets get hooked up on all kinds
Yeah,
of.
you get like 25% discount.
He gets a bunch of free stuff. I thought about joining the Air Force and getting kicked out just for the free weed. Just so I could go to these vet meetings. That's one thing I'll lie about anything to get free drugs, except saying I'm a vet. I'm not a vet. That's the only thing. I actually try to get free stuff on Mother's Day. They're like, some dispensary was giving out joints for Mother's Day, and I told them I'm a mom, because in San Francisco you're not allowed to judge people, right?
What they say?
They're like, come on, man, show me pictures of your kids on Facebook. And I was like, I'm not gonna show you. I don't want you looking at my kids.
You weirdo!
I
How
know.
dare you, sir?
They're like, come back on Father's Day. We got you for Father's Day, but it's San Francisco. You're not allowed to. I say I'm a woman. Hey, you're a woman, right? Why is it if I say I'm a mom, that's not okay?
Oh God! All for a blunt.
Blunt. Now, back then you had to buy your weed. These days there's a lot of weed out here. You can find real cheap weed. The thing is that there's a huge black market for it, but if you want to go to the dispensaries, it's still expensive. We're surrounded by like weed lounges out here. In this area alone, there's like 5 weed lounges a block away. But it's expensive. Do they got lounges where you live, or?
Not that I'm aware of. No, we have a cigar lounge, but not that I'm aware of.
Why are cigar lounges allowed and not weed lounges? I never understood that.
Man, because you have to keep getting cancer, bro. Come on now, you know the answer to that.
That is true. So, do you recommend the military for anybody? Do you?
Oh man, not right now, man.
Oh,
Not right now.
because of all the. But we're not really going to war anymore. You think we're going back to war?
No, it has nothing to do with that. The problem is if you want to enlist, man, like you have to understand certain things. Number one, your government property. Number one. Number two, what are you going in for? Are you getting something out of it? Are you getting a skill? Are you trying to make it a career? Like there's a lot of things that you have to understand. Number three, it's a lifestyle, and not a lifestyle that everybody can handle.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why people.
I was drafted into the Italian military. My grandfather was an Italian citizen, and they actually drafted me. And my mom tried to talk me into going.
Oh
But
wow.
I don't even know Italian. I'm like, I'm not about to get yelled at in Italian. Like, I don't, you know. But she's like, it's gonna be good for you. You can stay at home. They don't got bases. I'm like, I don't think so. But I was kind of stunned. I didn't even know I was an Italian citizen, and they got mad at me because I was like, are you sure I'm Italian? Like, I didn't really care. I'm not one of those Latinos who's dying to be like European. I'm not. I don't need to show my European colors, but like, yeah, I got drafted. It was really weird. Like, I never even thought about it, but I have friends. I never really thought that in high school that my friends would end up in the military, but I had
Hey
a.
brother,
Oh,
give
you
me
gotta
1 second.
go.
Yeah, no, I got somebody here. Give me 1 second. Let me handle this real
All
quick. I
right, go track him down.
No, no, no.
Go go arrest them or do something. I've never met a military police before. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, like I, I thought about being in the military when I was a kid, but because I wanted to be flying planes, but the military sounds kind of harsh. They tell you what to do, what to wear, and the whole exercise thing. Like, why you gotta exercise? Why you gotta exercise so much? Like, who are you trying to run away from? These days you can't run away from a drone. They might as well not have you run around. And like these days, wars are really easy. I don't understand why we need to send people out there. Like when the Russians they shot down that American drone and people got upset. I'm like, it was just a drone, dude. It was just a drone. Calm down. Nobody died. It wasn't a plane. If they want to they want to shoot down a couple of drones. They're just drones. Like don't get all. They got upset over it. Like how they dare shoot down one of our drones. I'm like, it's just a drone. It's crazy because I think my neighbors have like bird drones. I've had birds like fly into my apartment, but they're not really birds. One bird flew in and started like moving around like crazy. And I shut the door on it trying to catch it, and it started flying like 100 miles an hour. I was like, damn, I've never seen a bird fly that. But my mom was there. If my mom hadn't been there, I would have kept that damn thing, and I would have kept it. Like I want to know who the hell's flying a bird into my house. Like, what's up? It's crazy. Like, you could be looking at a bird and it could be a drone. There's no regulation for drones. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's got to be some kind of regulation. You can't sell a bird drone that looks like a real damn bird, because they're going to use it to spy on people. It's kind of sad. Before I used to like, look at the cute little birds. Now I see a bird coming at me, I'll be like, oh, damn. But yeah, it was a scene like, I haven't seen a bird drone in a while come in, but yeah, I've had it a couple times. It would just fly in like, and
So sorry for that, brother.
yeah, I'm talking about. I had kind of bird drones fly into my apartment. Somebody,
What? Really?
yeah, I had a couple of times. I had one that came in there, and I shut the door on it, and it started flying like 100 miles an hour, just like spinning, trying to get out of there because I was trying to lock it in. I'm like, this is not a real bird. I've never seen a bird fly this fast. But what do you think
Did you
about
get it?
bird drones? Should they be legal?
Man, depends, man. What do you want it for?
Well, I don't have one, but
But what
people,
would you use it for?
I never wanted a bird drone, but people use it on me. Like I see a bird now, it's like I get all paranoid. Like before you used to see a bird, like what a cute little bird. I'm gonna feed it. Now I see a bird, I'm like, oh damn, somebody's watching me.
Eh, a bird. I'll tell you this, right? A bird drone doesn't make me as paranoid as a phone. A phone should make you way more paranoid.
Yeah, because these days you can hear people's conversation. You could be sitting in some different area or state, and your friends are somewhere else, and you could be like listening in, and they wouldn't even know. You could use you could actually use other people's phones to listen in to whatever they're talking about.
There's a million things you could do, and the
Yeah.
government does it too. The government listens to conversations
Oh,
too.
the government was the one that invented all that, wasn't it?
Ah, I don't know about that. You got
Um,
me there, but I know they do it.
did you work with drones, or
No, God
when
no.
you were like you didn't have like a bird like tracking drug dealers around, or
No, but I have worked on cases where we've had to like tape, put a tracker on somebody and stuff like that. That I've done before.
do you just stick it under their truck, their car, or
It depends, man. Like you gotta for each person, it's gonna be different because you normally follow the person and like you watch their patterns and like hey, there's a lot of things to consider. Like hey, how old is the car? Does is he the only person? Are they the only person or that utilize the car? You know, is the car about to go into the shop? Because you don't want to put something and then you put a mechanic, and mechanics know what the underhood of a car looks like. There's a million things you got to worry about. Nowadays, people have like those iPod tags, man. I'm sure the government has a technology like that now too. So
so
it
what?
wouldn't surprise me.
Why did it take you so long to capture Whitey Bulger?
Whitey Bulger.
It's not the guy. It's not the guy from Boston. I, it's not like a Boston criminal or some mafia guy from Boston.
Oh, you got me there, my man.
Oh,
I
okay.
know who that is. That joke went way over my head.
Do you feel bad? Did you feel bad arresting people? Like, did part of you feel like you're kind of ruining their lives, or?
That's a good question. I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But the thing is the way that I look at it is you have a choice to make. And with the level of things that I've dealt with, like a lot of times it came down to like a personal choice. It wasn't that they were, broke or they just didn't know better. Believe it or not, dude, a lot of people have, and I don't know what the name of it is, but they just like to steal things. Like that's a very common thing you run into. They just like to steal things. But the only time I think I've ever felt bad arresting someone was someone who we suspected that the significant other was lying about something they said because the evidence didn't line up. But unfortunately, because we had other factors when we were investigating, we had to arrest them. It just felt shitty. But then it ended up getting fixed and whatnot. But it's not a nice feeling to put cuffs on somebody, Like if you listen to the sound of cuffs clicking, it's not a nice sound that anybody's going to like, man. So it's always rough. And it's always like, you never know how someone's going to react, dude. The moment you put your hands on somebody, people can react differently. That's why I say it's important to like, you got to like learn how to like verbal judo your way out of shit, man. Because it's not a nice thing. It's not nice, dude. It's just not nice.
I don't know. I would feel bad if I had to arrest somebody, like, you
Hmm.
know, especially if they were stealing. Because, I mean, don't you ever go to the store and think about what if nobody's looking? I don't steal things.
100%.
I,
100%. But here's the thing. That's when my integrity comes in.
I
And
don't
like,
steal
I just
because I'm
don't.
afraid of getting caught. But like, yeah, like you're like, oh my god. But there's a lot of like out here, the stores get stolen like crazy. Like.
Yeah, I've been seeing that on the news.
The
I've been reading.
Target was like opening until 6 p.m. because even their carts got stolen. People steal the carts. They steal the carts. they steal everything. Like
Hmm.
I don't even know how they make money. Everything is so expensive, but it's like the whole thing is like there's too many police. Don't you think? We got not too many police, but we got like city police, county, we got state police, federal police. I mean, do we need all these police forces? Shouldn't we combine a bunch of them?
I don't know if I have like enough knowledge to answer that, but I can say this. I think that one of the biggest problems that you see in the law enforcement community is jurisdiction. Like that is a huge issue because everybody has a different budget. You know,
Yeah.
everybody has a different budget, so it's like, well, if I don't show that I'm useful, then how am I going to get money for next year if I'm not showing that I'm useful? And I've heard, by the way, I've heard someone say that before.
Oh yeah. I
Like
mean,
straight up.
it's common sense that you see the police trying to give out a bunch of tickets the end of the month because they
I
got
don't know about
quotas.
that, but I never ran into that. But I do know, I have heard, and I do 100% know of some counties that at the end of the month, they'll be writing citations and shit like that. Like I know of places that do that.
I had a
But
friend who got pulled over in Wyoming. He was like 5 miles, I think, away from Colorado, and they pull people over because they all know they got weed on them, right? And
hmm,
so they arrest them in this one small town, and somebody put them in a hotel because it's common, like, and then next day they get let go. But it's like yeah, there's certain areas, especially with California plates. California plates get stopped a lot because people figure you must be carrying weed on you. So, you know, California weed is all over the place. Like, do you think your edibles are made with California weed or?
I wouldn't believe so because I think a lot of the stuff that I get is from companies that are around here and whatnot. And I don't have anything around me right now, unfortunately, to show. But a lot of the stuff that I take comes from like allegedly from places that are from here. But God knows where you got the stems or where you got the seeds. That could have been you bought seeds from someone in Cali or you bought the stems from someone in Cali and then you grew them here. So I mean, in essence, Cali weed is everywhere. I do agree with that. It's everywhere.
What are you doing for 420?
Uh, Not a damn thing, man. I'm gonna spend time with my kiddo. I'm gonna spend time with the kid and the wife and just watch movies and chill. I'm a pretty boring dude outside of work, bro.
What kind of edibles do you eat? Like, are we talking about like Rice Krispie treats or?
No, 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 no. I like RSO. There's these RSOs that are made by Panda that are extremely good. They're one in ones, and the CBD in it helps with the hand pain.
Are they
They're,
gummies or are we
yeah,
talking
they're
about
gummies.
gummies?
Gummies.
You like
Yeah,
gummies and stuff?
yeah, gummies.
I
Gummies and RSO is the things that I like.
I like. I had some gummy mushrooms the other day. Like,
Ooh, I've
yeah,
never those.
you never had mushrooms before?
Mm,
Or?
no.
Mushrooms is like decriminalized. Like mushrooms is everywhere out here. Like I'm kind of
Wow.
surprised. Is yeah, there's a city near. Oakland is nearby. Oakland decriminalized the psychedelics, so there's like DMT. I mean, mushrooms is like blowing up. In 5 years, you might be like doing mushroom edibles too.
I take lion's mane. That's about the only thing that I do with mushrooms.
What is lion's mane?
Lion's mane is what helps, according to studies, it helps rebuild your memory, like the memory cells and stuff like that, and it also helps with improved cognitive and memory function.
People are
So I
always
take
worried about memories, but I'm thinking there's a lot of memories I would like to forget. People are always worried about memories, but I'm like, not every memory is a good memory.
no,
There's a
not
couple
every
memories like,
memory. Oh,
yeah,
there's a lot of memories I wish I could just like they do in Harry Potter,
uh-huh.
bro. Do you imagine that if you could do that? Whew, there's a lot of those that I would pull out. A shit ton of those that I would pull out.
Do your kids speak Spanish, or
Yeah. Yes, they
did
do.
you make sure that they knew Spanish?
Yes.
Because my brother, like my niece and nephew don't know, like they're not even doing well in Spanish classes, and we came from South America. Like how is it that my niece and nephew don't know Spanish?
That's common, man. When you talk about as things pass down from generation to generation, people just don't want to do it, but they don't understand the value of it. There's so many things that you can do with it. You can do some voice acting work, you can do some freelancing work, you can teach if you're really really good at it. And it's not hard to get good at Spanish if you live in a house where they speak Spanish.
I
Like it
took
shouldn't
AP
be.
Spanish, but at the end, I mean, I knew Spanish, but like speaking it and writing it are two different things completely.
Correct.
Like I can speak it. I came to America at 7 years old, but yeah, I got a D in Spanish class. I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but it was like AP Spanish, so I was way up there. And I had nothing else AP, like it just Spanish. I don't even know why I was in the class. I should have just decided, hey, why get a D in Spanish if you speak it? Like, because you take the people in my class, how many of them can be in Mexico and actually like talk? You can put
Yeah.
me in Mexico. It's
And
like,
and a lot of people think that because they talk Spanish they can be translators or interpreters, and it's like, yeah, that's a whole set of other skills that you got to learn first, man.
yeah,
Whole set of other skills.
yeah, because it's not like, I mean, is it hard? Like you got to know the slang or
It's I wouldn't say hard. I would say it's very challenging, man, because language just evolves. Number 1. Number 2, Spanish has so many dialects that you have to be careful what dialect you're going to pick and where you're going to use it. Then the other thing is you also have to understand the ethics that you have to follow as an interpreter. And there's also the law that you have to follow under Title 6, which is for discrimination and stuff like that.
I'll just
So,
make it up. Like
the what?
I'll just make stuff up. Like
Yeah, see, and then that's the problem.
y-
That's in there lies the problem, is that that's where like wild things can happen, and like that's why you got to be careful and you got to get trained. But I think, yeah, yeah,
they,
I love my job, man.
they said
It's
they
pretty
wanted to go
much.
to a Yankee game, but I'm not down with the Yankees, so I'm gonna say something else. Do you ever feel pressure? Like you're like, what if I say the wrong thing? Maybe I misunderstood. Do you ever feel pressure translating, or
Nah, man, like not really.
is there a
Like,
Spanish that you? Is there a country that you think they speak the best Spanish, or?
that's a good question.
I think Colombia. Colombia is they're known as good Spanish speakers in Colombia. The Chileans are really mumblish.
I think it just depends when we're saying talking. Like, are we talking about educationally wise, or are we talking about like the sexiness of the accent?
I'm talking about like like movies and TV shows. If you watch
Oh, Mexico, bro. Mexico by
if you watch
far.
like TV show in Mexico, yeah, they do you go to Mexico a lot or
The easiest to no, God no. It's the easiest to understand, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Mexican, yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm thinking you live in California. How is it you don't know Spanish? That's what I keep thinking for my niece and nephew. You like, how is it you live in California? You go to high school and you don't know Spanish. They've been all over Europe, but somehow they haven't been into Latin America. Like, aren't we from Latin America? I don't want to judge them, but like my brother's like, you gotta take them to Chile. Have you taken your kids to Puerto Rico?
Not yet, man. Not yet. I
Oh,
don't. I
because
don't
they're
know where.
young, or you don't want to, or
Number one, they're young. Number two, the current political climate and social climate in Puerto Rico isn't a place that I would want to hit up right now.
because Puerto Rico is not like a big island. Like
It's 100 by 32. Well, 100 by 21 right now.
I always thought about moving to Puerto Rico because I know Spanish,
Mhm.
and I'm thinking.
29. Yeah, 100 by 29. I said 21.
So what are we talking about? Like that's not even that big. I mean,
No, it's not. There's
the
3.2
hurricane
million
took out
people.
half of it, didn't they? Like, are they
3.2
rebuilding
million
it,
people.
or
The what?
are they rebuilding Puerto Rico still?
Bro, they're always rebuilding Puerto Rico.
Well, of course, it's like a tropical area.
Yeah, bro. You have hurricane season for like 11 months out of the 12, man. Like, it's wild.
I never understood hurricane season. Like,
Really?
I never like why. is it like 4 months out of the year, or are we talking about that? It's really like 11
it's like,
months.
yeah. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but it's like 4 or 5 months out of the year. But the thing with hurricanes, man, is they last so long, and the problem is that I lived through a few hurricanes myself.
Are they
I had
fun? Are they like fun? I
They're
always
fucking
thought
terrifying.
I always thought like a small hurricane might be fun to live through. You know, something like
Nah,
not even
nah,
a
because
little one. Like, oh,
nah,
this
man.
is
Because here's the thing: is all it takes is over 50 miles an hour, bro, and it'll lift something that it shouldn't. It'll kill somebody, or go through a wall, or go through something. Like it does not take fucking much, dude. And then the problem is they can gain momentum, and then they turn into categories and stuff like that. They could go slower. They could slow down. Like it is not fun, man. It is not fun.
You know, in my neighborhood last week it was raining like crazy, and
Mm.
a tree fell on a Tesla and killed somebody.
Ooh,
And
shit.
now they're paranoid. They want to cut down all the trees. You know, I'm thinking like let's not cut down the trees.
Well, we're gonna sue Elon Musk first,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
because that car should have been protected by trees. It should have withstood a tree.
Yeah, I've been in a Tesla before. My
Have
Uber
you?
driver had a Tesla, and the car stops by themselves. Don't they have like a tree sensor? I mean, can they sense like the tree coming? I feel the tree coming at me. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of it because it was my neighborhood. It was my. There were.
Bro, what do you want the car to do, to transform into Optimus Prime and shoot the tree?
Well, why not? I mean, why
What?
not? You know. Now they're getting paranoid. Now they're cutting down trees. Like it's almost like look it was just a bad accident. We don't need to cut down trees. You know, all these environmentalists, they spend years worrying about the trees, and now somebody gets killed by a tree landing on them in a Tesla. Now they want to cut down the trees. Now their whole environmentalist is out the window. They're afraid of trees. I'm like, no. Are you down with cutting trees?
No,
No?
God, no.
It's like, dude, how do they even figure out if a tree's about to fall? I mean, it's an accident, right? Like,
You got to put those birds, bro. You got to put those camera birds on. That's what those camera birds are there for. They're trying to protect you from
yeah,
the
the
trees.
drones. You need a bird drone, like, yeah, you know. Or you need a Tesla to figure out have a kind of a tree sensor, you know, like, or make like a at least make the roof of the car like, you know, like heavy so it won't go down, you know, on a tree. I mean, they could make these cars are like tin cans, you know. We think about them how expensive they are, but they are basically a huge tin can. If a
Yeah,
tree falls on you, you're kind of gone, you know. Unless you're in a
yeah,
truck or it's like a Denali or something, you know.
yeah. And it's wild, man. Like cars, like they haven't evolved really that much. I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but ugh, it's. We'll see. We'll see what happens with these cars, man. I'd love to sit on a Tesla. I have yet to be in one or see one up close and whatnot yet.
Oh yeah, I got in because I had an Uber driver drive a Tesla, and he actually rented it from Uber because he said it's cheaper because you're not paying for the gas.
Oh wow, really?
But the problem is, he said that you couldn't have it like near cars. Like it had to be like away from cars because it would sense a car and it would just stop. Like they stop automatically. You know, it's a good thing if you got friends who are drunk. You could play jokes on them with the stuff. But like
He said
it
no.
wasn't me. It was the car that stopped. Like you know, you could play a lot of jokes with that. But you know, it's like. It is crazy. Like now we're cutting down trees. Like now we're cutting down the trees. You know, it's like let's save the trees. You know, it was an accident. You know.
I think Pornhub for a while was like donating, like they were like planting 2 trees every time you finished a video or some stuff. Like
Were
if
they
something was
right?
years ago. This was years ago, I
There's
think.
like
It
a
was like,
whole forest that should be named after me, right? You know.
bro, a forest. I need, bro. I can cover the United States probably. Like fuck around. Like Jesus,
So
that'd be interesting.
how did you end up in Missouri? I mean,
I love it, man. I just love it here. Like I fell in love with it when I came here through the military, and just when I got out, I just didn't want to go back to Puerto Rico because there's not much going on at that time.
But
And
why Missouri? Why Missouri?
I just love it, dude. I just love it. The cost of living is affordable. A lot of great names pass through here. The town is steadily growing into basically a larger metropolitan area, but you still can get 800 square feet apartment for like $500-$600 a month. So like, dude, it's yeah, I like it.
So the question everybody's wondering: who has the best empanadas? The Puerto Ricans, or have you had it? Puerto Rican empanadas, or
Oh man, if I had a Puerto Rican empanada, I'm offended. Of course.
what? You think are they better than other countries? Who's got the best empanada? What do you think?
I think Mexico has the best empanadas.
Well, no,
And
those are
they
they're like sweet empanadas. Those are more like, you know, because in Chile we fry them with cheese. You know, that's what I like.
yeah, we do that too.
Yeah, I
La
like
empanadilla-
the fried
empanadilla de
ones.
queso.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it empanadilla de queso.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, frying it, and so they look like wontons. Imagine wontons, and that's what they look like.
Yeah, I used to be addicted to Chinese buffets. I mean, I don't know. Do they got Chinese buffets in Missouri?
Puerto Rico?
Where-
Fuck yeah, bro. There's a town where there's a ton of Asian people, bro, and like they live there and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
there's a Chinese. You never had Chinese Puerto Rican food, bro?
Oh really?
It's the shit. Just Google Puerto Rican Chinese food. You can Google that and it'll pop up like some dishes that you're like, I don't know what that is, but that looks like something that I want on my face.
That sounds like Puerto Rican women and stuff.
I'll pass on that. I like them white.
Oh, are you married to a white woman or?
Yeah, bro.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not from the tone of that voice.
Does she speak Spanish or?
Fuck no, bro. You gotta have secrets, man. Come on now.
That is true. That is true. You gotta have secrets. Wait.
She's
wh-
watching this in the other room, by the way.
Do you think it's harder to have foreign parents in America? Like my parents are foreigners, and I think American parents are more like standoffish. You know, foreign parents they kind of get on your case your whole life. They kind of stalk you in a way.
So I don't know how it is in Chile, right? But I have a lot of friends who are from Colombia, Mexico, Ecuador, Costa Rica, and it's pretty much the same. Like they're always on your ass. When you tell them that you're a comedian, they'd rather tell people like something else. They don't really understand what you do for a living, and no matter what, you know, they always think they know better.
Yeah, I think my dad never saw me on stage. My mom seen me on stage once, but I told her that I'm selling weed to the comedians. I'm not actually there doing comedy.
Oh God.
That's what I would tell her. That she was more proud of that. Like, go get some money, son. Nah, like, yeah, my mom doesn't like my comedy because she thinks I'm making fun of her. Like, she thinks I'm always making fun of her. It's not true, but it's a paranoid thing. Like, yeah, I do talk bad. I do say stuff about my mom. You know, like, if you can't make fun of your mom, who can? You know, did you see the Adam Sandler, Mark Twain prize thing last night?
No, dude. I was watching. I'll tell you this right now. I was watching the IBJJF International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation's Pan Am fights, the Pan American fights for Jiu-Jitsu. That's what I was watching last night.
Oh, Pan Am is it's like just North America and South America, isn't it? Like the Pan Am
I believe yes. When you're talking about geographically, yes. The Pan Ams that I'm talking about is just the name of the competition. It's like a really prestigious competition to win, and like a lot of our guys are down there competing. So I've been watching it for the past like all weekend, and then I was just rewatching some matches from our guys.
I came in a Pan Am plane to America. I actually, it's kind of sad that Pan Am's not around anymore because
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, yeah. Like I flew in a Pan Am. I came to America in a Pan Am. Like how old were you when the first time you came to America? Was it for college or?
No, bro. I came from Puerto Rico fresh off the boat to Missouri.
Was there a real
January.
boat or did you really come on a
No.
boat? Did you really?
No.
Did
I
you?
flew. I
You
flew.
sailed your way over here?
I sailed on a raft that was made of old furniture from my abuela's house, so it was real colorful. And then I had beer cans surrounding it just so I could have something to drink later. And that's how I made it to Florida. And then I ran all the way and got to Missouri. No. I took a flight from San Juan to St. Louis, and then I had never been in the cold weather before. So surprise, surprise. If you know anything about Missouri, the weather in Missouri in January is extremely fucking cold.
Oh yeah, like
And that was my first experience coming to, yeah.
I remember people talking about how they had to go to the Chiefs playoff game and it was like 20 degrees or something.
Yep.
20 to, yeah, you really don't like, do they got like skiing areas nearby where you live or?
Nah, dude. Nah, I don't, no. God, no. No, it's not that fancy.
So what do you think about J-Lo? What's up? What do you think
What
about
about
J-Lo?
You trying to get me murdered here, bro.
Well, why not?
We
Why?
can't be talking about Jenny on the block, bro.
Hey
about
man,
the first
every
living
day
color.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of house she's gonna buy. Like I'm all into that, you know.
I
Not
don't know
really,
much.
but
I like her music. I like some of her music. Some of her music.
do you think she's Puerto Rican though? I mean, she's from New
No,
York.
no. She has Puerto Rican heritage.
Yeah, I mean,
Puerto Rican heritage.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to claim, that's absolutely fine. You know, you do you. But name 3 artists that are from Puerto Rico that are famous that live in Puerto Rico.
yeah, I don't know anybody that actually live in. Actually, the only famous people that I know that live in Puerto Rico are like the boxer. There's a bunch of like
Yeah, but
internet
no.
people.
But I mean, yeah, so what I mean is that are from artists that are from Puerto Rico that still live there.
Well, of course, no, they all leave.
Yeah.
I mean,
They all leave, bro. They all leave.
Unless-
Look at Bad Bunny. Bad
Yeah.
Bunny's like he comes and goes to the island, but not a lot of people stay, man.
I like Bad Bunny because he like wrestles. He's crazy. If I was famous, I would never get in the ring.
Really?
Yeah, he does like the WWE events all the time, but
Yeah, bro. That's how you extend reach, though. That's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to like.
there's
That's the-
safer sports to do like pickleball.
Yeah.
Tennis.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, I'm not getting in the ring. Like people keep telling me wrestling's fake. I'm like, I had somebody like put a wrestling move on me one time. There's nothing fake about wrestling. Like,
Yeah, your body takes a toll, man, as that form of entertainer, dude. Even jujitsu, like your body takes a toll over time. But you learn to adjust, though. That's the one thing that you'll see with your body is it'll adjust. Like it'll adjust. Different muscles will come in place and like things happen, you know.
So have you tried to do like comedy in Spanish?
Nah, man. Not yet.
I have before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
How'd that go?
I haven't. I don't think I got that many laughs in Spanish though.
It's a different culture. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Different culture.
When I was
You can tell-
30,
you
I
can
went.
tell-
Yeah, when I was 30, I actually went back to Chile for a year and a half,
Mhm.
and I'm glad I was there because I think people need to go back to where where they were born,
Mhm.
just to get a good feel about like what's going on. But the thing about it, you don't realize that you're in America. Like I don't know how you feel about that. You're an American, and people judge you, but I'm in Chile. They think I'm an American there, but they look at me here. They're like, I don't know what you are. I don't know. It's like nobody really wants you. It's crazy.
I don't think it's that people don't want you, because I know what you're saying is people look at you, when you say, I'm from Puerto Rico. Well, what part of New York? It's like, no, not New York, Puerto Rico, the island. And people go, oh, well, why'd you come here? Well, that's like the first question. And I think it's just a matter of ignorance, is because people really like don't don't really educate themselves as much. And a lot of times, dude, like a lot of people who are Puerto Rican that leave the island, like you won't really know if they're Puerto Rican unless you ask them.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza is like she claims she's half Puerto Rican, but you
Does
know,
she?
yeah, she's like half Puerto Rican. You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, it's the whole diversity thing. Like, we don't really realize why people are chosen for certain roles, but like she made a movie about it came out last year where they were making fake credit cards to steal stuff from. Is that like common now? Like the whole
Yeah,
fake
credit
credit
card theft.
the
Oh,
whole
bro.
credit card theft. You didn't deal with that, did you? Or
No, no, no. I never got to work those cases. God no. I would have fucking thrown myself off the second store. Those cases are a nightmare.
oh
I know
yeah,
I know guys who have worked banking cases, blue collar cases, like all that shit. It's a fucking nightmare. Like it's a fucking
yeah.
nightmare.
Especially now, like banks are getting hit up like crazy. Like people's accounts,
Hmm.
and you never know where they're coming from. How you feel about like gang members getting sent back to their countries? Like, like if you got a gang member like from Belize who goes to LA and then
Hmm.
they decide to ship him back to Belize, it's not
Hmm.
alright to send gang members back to their countries, is it? It's like,
I don't. Are you asking me how I feel about that? Like me personally?
yeah, like,
Okay, no, great question. Um, it's really difficult because I've seen both sides because I've translated and interpreted for like people who are ex gang members and people who were still gang members that were seeking asylum and stuff like that. And the thing is, man, is that from my experience, a lot of those people when they come here, they're like, "Oh, fuck this gang life shit." Like, you guys have water and you have AC, you have central AC.
yeah.
Fuck that. I am in. But a lot of times you also have the ones that they come in because they're getting paid by the cartels or they're getting paid by someone to, just cross someone over or bring whatever in here. So it just depends, man. It's a case by case thing, dude. It's hard as fuck.
My dad used to say that, that's the thing that impressed him about America, that the poor people here had running water, they got
Yep.
electricity,
AC.
AC. Like, you go to, like in Chile, you're poor in Chile, you don't got water, you don't got electricity, you don't got internet. Like, there's a big difference between being poor in America and being poor in other countries, yeah.
Yep. Being poor in other countries is like being middle class in America.
Hey, so how can we find you on Facebook, and you have a website for your class, or how,
Yeah, no, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. You
thank you
you
for
have been
being on.
Yeah, this has been probably this is probably the best interview I've been in. There was a lot of questions that I didn't expect you to ask, so I can tell that you did some background research.
I
Uh,
always do. Like, I always check people's Facebook pages, Instagram.
yeah, but there's some stuff that you knew that's not on Facebook. So you either watched a lot of episodes or you've read like articles about me. Either
Oh
way,
yeah. Well,
most people do that.
I like to figure out what do they do, what they're into. You gotta be prepared to ask questions and stuff.
No, I greatly appreciate that, and we'd love to have you on the show also to talk eventually. We'll coordinate some dates, and everybody can find me on Richard Aviles on Facebook. On TikTok, you can find me under Language Ninja, or you can find me under Rico Podcast.
Oh yeah, I
Or
never asked you, what is Language Ninja? Is that you? Or?
yes, Language Ninja Solutions is the interpreting company that I run.
Oh, so that's the okay. So if you look for Language Ninja Solutions, that's you. How did
Yeah.
you How did you come up with that? Are you like a real ninja, or?
I mean, sure. I'd like to think so. No, I had a when I used to translate for the government, I had an agent that was kind of an asshole, and he'd always like touch my head and call me a little language ninja when I was translating stuff. And I used to get pissed off when he'd say that because he was just being playful and being an asshole. So I kind of just took that and I was like, oh, cool, like this is what we're gonna name it, and then copyrighted, trademarked it, and here we are, language ninja, my man.
Language Ninja, thank you for being on, Language Ninja. You know, I think you're our first like Latino, anybody who speaks Spanish on the
Whip!
show. You got to come and visit us if you're ever in town in San Francisco. Look us
Brother,
up.
I am just waiting for.
We're
for all
Edge
these
Studios.
classes.
We got
Yeah,
a
man.
whole. We'll save you
I-
some fentanyl if you come down.
No,
we'll
please
party.
don't.
We'll
Don't
party
scare
like crazy. We'll
Ah,
pass
no.
out. We'll get arrested. We'll do all kinds of stuff.
Dear Lord, no. I have things I gotta do. But no, man. Next time I'm in Cali, man, I'm just waiting for all this madness in the world to slow down, and then we'll be doing that. But thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure, brother.
Thank you for being on. See you later. Bye.